And now, from houses being destroyed to houses being built.
The federal government has revealed its signature Housing Australia Future Fund has delivered 340 new homes and has more than 5,000 under construction in its first round.
For 2 decades, Australia has been in the grip of a housing shortage, with eye-watering prices pushing home ownership out of reach. So wasn't this welcome news late last month?
It aims to build 30,000 over the next 5 years.
Yes, new homes as far as the eye can see. The Housing Australia Future Fund's singular achievement reverberated across the ABC's huge national footprint, featuring on its flagship radio current affairs program.
Today it's revealed that so far 340 homes have been built under the fund's first round.
And repeated throughout the morning.
Minister for Social Services Amanda Ishworth says so far 340 new homes have been built.
So far 340 new homes have been built.
The story was first reported by The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald online the night before and appeared as a page 4 exclusive in The Age the next day.
Thousands of homes built by Labor Fund.
In Perth, 221 have been built in outer suburbs.
With The Age teasing just how far it was ahead of its competition.
Figures from the fund to be released today will show 358 homes have been completed.
At a Senate estimates hearing that day, Nine Scoop took centre stage.
Apparently, according to the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age today, the Housing Australia Future Fund has now built 300 houses.
340 homes are complete, and as these have been acquired and converted into social and affordable housing.
Acquired and converted? What does that mean? Coalition attack dog Andrew Bragg, he wanted to know too.
How many of them were actually built?
They've all been built.
Oh, so 340 you said were acquired. Were they acquired or were they built? It's a different thing.
Well, they all had to be built to be acquired.
Uh-oh. The fund might have signed deals to build a slew of new homes. 5,000 might even be under construction. But as best we can determine, it seems there's not yet a single new home to have come out of the ground, which might help explain why The Age had put it like this. The ABC's Running Politics blog appears to have been first to identify the distinction, and by the next morning, the story had turned on its head, with Sally Sara interviewing Andrew Bragg on Radio National Breakfast.
You say that you've caught the government fudging the numbers on HAF. What do you mean?
Well, the government claimed that they'd built 300 houses, but in fact we found out in Senate estimates yesterday that those 300 houses have been purchased, not built.
Undeterred, Nine loved its exclusive so much it ran it again, word for word, under a new headline in the Sydney Morning Herald the next day. It took more than 72 hours for Nine to notice the footings had begun to slip.
Clarification.
This article and its headline have been updated to better reflect the debate about the progress of the Housing Australia Future Fund's work.
And what were these updates? Well, this headline for starters, and those 221 homes in Perth were no longer built, they were completed. Then last Friday, after our inquiries, the vague clarification became something a little more concrete.
Correction.
An earlier version of this story said 221 houses in Perth were built by the Housing Australia Future Fund. However, these houses were purchased and restored.
Nine's Luke McElveen told Media Watch,
"The story should have made clear what completed means and should not have used the word built to describe houses bought and restored. This was an error."
The ABC has also now published an editor's note and a clarification. This was a wee glimpse of the dark arts deployed on all sides, almost every day in Canberra. The government planted a story in Nine newspapers that I'm sure it hoped would be misreported, and wheeled out Amanda Ishworth for a critical ABC radio interview to make sure Auntie spread it far and wide. Of course, the moral of this little fable will be obvious to you all. Journalists hungry for an exclusive must turn a somewhat more jaundiced eye to politicians bearing gifts.